Well, hello friends, and welcome back to Autumn Cottage after a longer gap than I'd intended. And since my last film, there have been several significant events in my life, one of the best of which was that I spent a wonderful few days staying with my family in the cottage which used to be the home of Sir Peter Scott at the Wildfowl and Wetlands Trust down in Slimbridge on the Severn Estuary. It was an exceptional experience. I used to wake up every morning to the sound of hundreds of wildfowl gathering outside my window. It was absolutely beautiful. But at the end of the holiday, some sadness as I returned home to find that my beloved cat Pip, that so many of you will remember from the other videos I've made, and I'd had him for 13.5 years, he died. And partially as a result of the grief I felt at the time, I haven't really felt inclined to be very creative, and that included not wanting to make any videos. And the other reason for my absence, that we had seemingly storm after storm and centimetre after centimetre of rain, so I was also disinclined to venture into the garden at all. I'm sure I haven't been alone in this experience. But when I posted my last film, I certainly had no idea that the next time I came to talk to you, we would be living in such extraordinary times as these. The COVID-19 pandemic is upon us. We're all disconcerted, and I suspect that some of us might be feeling varying levels of anxiety. And it's at times like this that we might feel very out of control. And indeed it's true that we have little control about some parts of the situation, behaviour of the virus and how those that catch it might be affected. But what we can have control over is how we choose to deal with the situation in which we find ourselves. I mean, how do we spend our days? Do we sit there wringing our hands and, feeling overwhelmed by feelings of hopelessness? Or do we make some active choices to fill our hours with a few activities that might help us to feel calm and give us some hope? I think that what we've got to do is very much acknowledge our fear, but I hope that in a small way I can also help you feel a bit more hopeful. Because as well as thinking about how we live and look after ourselves right now, I know that many of us are trying to think of ways in which we can help others to just get through this situation. Now, there are one or two reasons why I fall marginally into the vulnerable category. So I've decided that one of the ways in which I can help is to put out into the world some short but regular little videos. I mean, sometimes they'll only be a minute or two long, but which will invite you often into the garden here at Autumn Cottage, and sometimes into the house, to find moments of peace, a little bit of beauty, some interest, and hopefully a bit of optimism and hope, and while still acknowledging the more difficult stuff that we certainly will all have to deal with. Over the years of producing the Autumn Cottage Diarist blog, and since starting to present these videos, I've had comments from people all over the world who've told me that a moment or two spent virtually at Autumn Cottage can lift their spirits for the day. And it's in that spirit that I therefore offer you what I hope will be a little light during your day, perhaps just a little candle for a few minutes in the darkness. And if you feel that anyone that you know, especially those who can't get out, would enjoy watching these little videos, please do pass the link on to them. And to ensure that you don't miss any yourself, do remember to subscribe and also turn on your notifications. Now we'll get through this together, friends, and we'll come out at the end having learnt quite a lot about ourselves, I would imagine, quite a lot about others, but also a lot about the world in which we live. Just look around, it is a beautiful world. Let's walk the path together, side by side. Okay, here comes the optimism part, friends, because as you can see, it's springtime at Autumn Cottage. Down by the pond you can hear the chimes ringing. You might have been able to hear the window flapping in the summer house as well. It's doing it again. It's very windy today. So let's just take a stroll around and hopefully I'll end up back at the house. There's a nice cup of tea waiting for me. Look at the pond. I've cut all the variegated bamboo back. Nothing's grown up very much yet. The acers are opening, and the most special thing of the garden at the moment, I hope you can see, I have a beautiful new fence. This fencing, which still has to be finished, we still have to fill the gaps underneath because the ground is very uneven. But the fencing's gone up to keep the naughty deer out. You know I love the deer, and you know you've seen photographs and film of them, but I'm afraid they do a dreadful amount of damage. So the fencing's gone up, and something I'm very happy about is that I didn't need to take any trees out. The contractors were able to fit the fence around the trees. So the pond is looking very clear, very open. There are newts in the pond already. Some lovely daffodils. And you can see the beautiful reflections on the water there. And let's take a stroll up now. I just show you a few spring flowers up in the garden. And this is the garden right at the beginning of the year, full of hope and optimism. Just to show you a little bit of what I mean about the amount of damage that the deer did. Can you see just how chewed that viburnum is? That's what the leaves should look like, and hopefully that's what they'll look like again. We'll just take a little look back at the pond. There are the daffodils on the other side, the summer house over there. You can see the beautiful leaves of the acers opening up here. Oh, there's a motor car going past. I don't know where those people are going, but wherever it is, they shouldn't be going there. They should be staying indoors and looking at these beautiful shrubs. We'll go up into the top garden now. Looks as if Alec has left the pruning platform out. He's been pruning some roses very late. I did them this morning, but Monty Don said you could still do it on Gardener's World, and if Monty says so, it must be okay. Let's just take a walk up now. Can you see the rose arch filling out? Already a load of leaf on the roses, and some lovely periwinkles, variegated periwinkle down there, which you can probably see better if I take you through the archway. Look at those shadows. That shows how much lovely bright sun we're getting this afternoon. Oh, there's me in a shadow. And there's all the grasses. I've been raking the grasses this morning. Crocosmia still just about shooting through. Another arch over there that I've put up to stop the abundant Paul's Himalayan musk drowning everything, so that we can at least get through to the back of the beds in midsummer. And I'm just going to take you over. You will see that we have cherry blossom. We've never had cherry blossom before because the naughty bullfinches come along and strip the buds off every year, but not this year. I'm very lucky. Let me show you the Magnolia stellata, which has just opened. It's absolutely beautiful. How about that? And I'll just swing round, show you a few daffodils still left. They're really still doing very well. Let's just go through to the veggie garden and just show you what it looks like before we've got anything much growing in it. The herb bed is actually going to be a herb bed no more. I think I mentioned before that it's far too shady here really to grow herbs. So we're going to do something else with it. It's a herb wheel divided into 8 segments, though you can't see those segments at the moment. And if anybody's got any ideas as to something interesting that I could do with it, I'd be very pleased to hear them. Just show you the last of the parts of the garden for today. Here's the vegetable garden. It's looking very neat and tidy. And the last crop I've got growing from over the winter is the winter chard, which is still going strong. We had some in a salad at lunchtime today, and it was very delicious. So that's an idea for things that you might want to grow this year. I think everybody's going to start growing a great deal more of their own food. The lovely thing about chard is that it's so pretty. It's got the lovely stems of red and yellow. And it's all gone over a bit, but my goodness, there's still plenty there to eat. I'm sorting out all the different flints on the table. I'm going to try making a mosaic from some of those. The rhubarb is doing very well. Look at that. I see a rhubarb crumble coming up. And let's just finally take you over to see a little panorama of the garden in all its beauty really at this time of the year. There we are. Autumn Cottage in the spring. Isn't it lovely? I'll be back again in a few days, so do subscribe and meet me here again at Autumn Cottage. Bye for now.